at doing that. This is Forgiveness in the Three Directions. It's a fairly old practice, but the one who has made it somewhat famous is actually Jack Kornfield. And if you go to YouTube again, Forgiveness Practice Jack Kornfield with a K, you will also find this practice available there. Well, I'm plugging in my TV so I can see you better when we're ready to do some talking. I'm just going to check in and see if there are any questions right now about this practice. I'm muting to make sure everyone's muted here. Good to see you all. There's Carrie. Nice to see you, Carrie. I think, Carrie, you might still be in somewhere else.
I'm in Georgia.
You're in Georgia. Well, how wonderful that you get to be here with us. Thank you for taking the time to do that. That's very meaningful. I'm sure there's lots of things you could be doing even now. And so welcome, everyone. It's good to see you. So for this practice, I'm going to think about that before I say it. I'm hesitant to lie down. I will tell you truthfully. Why? I'm hesitant to lie down for this practice because I think we need to find our seat. I think the physical body in its established sitting posture for forgiveness practice offers us that mountain body that I think we need to hold that trembling, pained, hurt, abandoned, confused heart. And so when we're laying down, I think it's a vulnerability that may be too much for forgiveness practice. So I want you to really think that through. There are a few of you who should just be lying because of physical issues or reclining in some way, but I want you to think about that. It's late, and so it'd be easy to want to lie down. And I'm choosing the practice on purpose a little bit later because I think in some way we open a little more. We don't have the same defensive, armored, barriered heart as we often carry about in the day. So you decide what's best for you. That is always the right way. And so here we go. Establishing yourself in the sitting or lying posture or something in between. We're just going to begin by gently turning one's attention towards awareness of the body. And I just want you to check in right now with how the body is, just given our brief discussion about forgiveness, about confronting vulnerabilities and ignorance and greed, and really opening ourselves rather than contracting further. And then we also said, didn't we, that if we contract, can we still open to ourselves in self-compassion? Feeling for ourselves, maybe even placing our own hands on our own hearts in those moments where we are so tender that we in fact cannot open beyond that tenderness to feel forgiveness. Recollecting as we sit in the body, beginning to sense the stillness, the stability, the groundedness of the body. Letting that mind grow roots into the body. Inviting one's whole attention into awareness of this body. And sometimes we like what's happening in the body and sometimes we don't. It's not about liking, it's about knowing. See if we can begin to create a little softness in the face, in the throat, in the chest and belly, making this mind body a little bit more pliable, a little more flexible, expandable. And after establishing a posture in the body, we set the posture of the heart mind. These are essential components of everyday practice. If you're not doing them, you must. This is a critical foundational ground for your practice, even if you're practicing for a minute. Set the body, know the body, and then set the heart mind on the object. And the object here is going to be the open and forgiving heart. And so we can breathe right into the area of the heart, both the physical heart and that tender heart within, the emotion heart, the heart that can be hurt, the heart that's capable of forgiving that hurt. See if you can breathe beyond the barrier. Into the subtle emotional heart. And once we're there, we're going to see if you can find at least a person or two with whom we can practice this forgiveness practice. It would be better not to make it the most horrendous egregious act that you have committed or that another has committed, but maybe practicing with something mild to moderate. And just place that person, that other, maybe another you have harmed and another who has harmed you. We're going to place them right into that hurt space. And then we're going to offer our aspiration that this practice be of benefit to us all, to those we have harmed, to ourselves who we have harmed and have been harmed by another, and to someone or others who have harmed us. Remember, no pushing the heart, just allowing. May we offer this practice to the benefit and welfare of all beings. Omitting none, awakening us, freeing us all. And so for just a moment or two, we're going to continue to breathe right into the heart space, just feeling the physical felt sense that's available there. Maybe a squeeze, a pressure, a tightness, an ache, maybe a numbness. But what I can assure you is that if you can breathe right in, there are sensations available here. We're not trying to get rid of the experience or the sensations. We're not trying to make them bigger or smaller. We're just touching in knowing. Letting the sensation be known in the breath. And then with the out breath, we're simply releasing, letting go, preparing to begin again. Breathing in, feeling what's there. Softening the body around the experience. No resistance, no struggle, no refusal. Pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. We're breathing in just one step, one breath, one heart moment at a time. Continuing to relax the body with each out breath. Watch for the tendency to tighten up. And for just a moment, I'd like you to remember that you are capable of forgiveness. You are. That you are worthy and deserving of forgiveness, whether it happens or it doesn't happen. You are going to invite both the giving and receiving of forgiveness. That's the beginning of the multiple directions. Now I'm feeling this so strongly that actually I can feel it even on the back side. And so I'm just opening in all directions. I'm feeling it right in the front, and it feels pressury and a little painful. I have a tendency to want to rub it, so I'm going to. I can really feel it there, right around the sternum. We might even be able to find, as we're touching into the sternum, if that feels good to you, often we can find a tender spot there. That's just the portal into that accessible heart. Softening the body. Letting go of all those ideas about how this is going to go or be, how you're going to be. And I'm going to just keep my hands right here in this heart space. There's a lot of powerful feelings happening for me this evening. And so I'm going to stay in as much contact with that as I can and keeping my hands there. That may or may not be right for you. So as we're sitting comfortably, see if allowing the eyes to close or soften is workable for you. We want to keep the breath really as natural, as easy, as inviting of that softening the body as we can. Continuing to breathe gently into the area of the heart. I can always begin, I wonder if you can too, to begin to feel all the barriers that we have erected. All these pinpoints of sensation, I think also for me, I know, represent an emotion. often a disregarded one, a pushed down one, a rejected one. And again, we're not trying to rip the bloom open. We're just making that contact with that barrier. Sometimes it can feel a little claustrophobic, a little tight. That's the pain of keeping us closed. Right there. As we continue to breathe softly, we can begin to formulate the words of forgiveness. You'll recite them to yourself as I'm reciting them. And we're going to let whatever images and feelings come and go as we experience this. We're not trying to make something happen. So be watchful of that error. And so we're going to begin with the first direction, which is forgiveness from others. Forgiveness from others. And here is the recitation. There are ways that I have hurt and harmed others, that I have betrayed or abandoned them, caused them suffering, knowingly or unknowingly, out of my own pain, fear, anger, and ignorance. There are ways that I have hurt and harmed others, have betrayed or abandoned them, caused them suffering, knowingly or unknowingly, out of my own pain, fear, anger, and ignorance. Let's just breathe that in. And as you're recollecting that phrase, repeating that to yourself gently, see what comes to mind. Is there a particular moment, a visualization, a moment where you remember or recognize that in fact, knowingly or unknowingly, you caused harm? Often the joke is there are so many who can pick one, but see if one doesn't bubble up. And I've got a situation that's come to mind. It's quite some years ago, but it has a lot of energy in it still. I'm just visualizing that moment. It was a conversation I was having. I was definitely confused. I didn't know what the right thing was, and in fact, I'm not sure I did the right thing. But I do recognize that it caused harm, a feeling of betrayal. I'm just breathing that in. And then feeling the effects of making contact with that experience. Staying in the body, waking down as best we can, breathing into the heart space, feeling what's there. If we're noticing a blocking and numbing, if nothing comes to mind, this is our opportunity for self-compassion. We're saying, for all those moments in which I was so confused, I can't even recollect them. They're not even coming to mind. Can I feel the truth of this as a part of our human experience? Can I feel for myself? in my own pain, in my own fear, my own anger, my own ignorance. I'm not quite able to touch into this. That's just fine. And then breathe that self-compassion in for yourself. Or if you're able, can you begin to see the truth that whatever happened as a result of that human vulnerability, directly as a result of your own pain, your own confusion. My own confusion was definitely there. How do I help but not enable? And I don't think I saw the way at the time. And out of my own uncertainty, out of my own fear of not getting it right, I think I did nothing. I just cut it all off. And can I acknowledge that? Can I begin to breathe in the fresh air, the purifying space of forgiveness for myself? And I'm not sure, truthfully. I'm just breathing in, seeing if I can create a little space there for the truth of my own humanness, my own vulnerability, my own fear. Can we shine the light of awareness? That's the wisdom on that truth. And if we can see it clearly, compassion will naturally arise at the minimum. And if compassion can be present, then forgiveness is not far behind. And we're going to ask that other, the one whom we have harmed, for forgiveness. I ask for your forgiveness. I ask for your forgiveness now. And if that other can come to mind, you can picture them. Seeing if you can picture them receiving that heartfelt forgiveness request from you. I ask for your forgiveness now. Staying engaged in the heart. And feeling in, what's it feel like to actually ask for forgiveness? Asking to be forgiven. Remember, if we're not just there yet, let's see if we can feel for ourselves and our inability to feel worthy of that forgiveness. And see if you can breathe in compassion for the suffering, for the pain that continues. Also for the blindness that continues. You can't see clearly yet that you are deserving, both of the request and of the receiving. I ask for your forgiveness now. Check in, see how the heart space is vibrating, what's there. Being watchful of tendencies to be judgmental or condemning, there's no wrong feeling, no matter what you're feeling or not feeling. Can you be with that open-heartedly? See if we can create that warmth, that space, that room, the capacity to hold in awareness with kindness, compassion, and forgiveness, whatever is arising now. We're not trying to change it, we're just trying to become aware. And then we're going to be expanding now beyond asking others for forgiveness and offering ourselves compassion with whatever's present there. See if we can now maybe even ask ourselves for forgiveness. We have committed often the greatest atrocities against ourselves. This is a fact. Most of our suffering is suffering propagated against oneself. Breathing into the heart, thinking about this harm, this hurt, this abandoning, this suppressing, this rejecting of oneself. Seeing if we can find one of those moments in which we can begin to offer forgiveness to ourselves. Holding your own heart if that feels helpful. I've got both hands there. Touching into the direct experience, the ache in our own heart for all the ways that we have harmed, hurt, or abandoned ourselves. I'm just picking one. And then reciting this silently to yourself. There are many ways that I have hurt and harmed myself, that I have betrayed or abandoned myself many times through thought, word, or deed, knowingly and unknowingly. May I stay present to this consequence, feeling the preciousness and vulnerability of my own tender heart. There are many ways that I have hurt or harmed myself, that I have betrayed or abandoned myself many times through thought, word, or deed, knowingly and unknowingly. May I stay present to this consequence, feeling the preciousness and vulnerability of my own tender heart. Breathing in, touching in. You may see many ways that you have hurt or harmed yourself. You may flash through many, but see if you can stick with one just for the practice. And feel the effect on your own mind, body now. Feel the regret, the grief, the shame, maybe even feeling deserving. Check in on that. Believing that you deserved being abandoned, betrayed, or harmed. It's never true. Never true. In behalf of yourself and in contribution then to others who have committed this very harm also, can we open our hearts and release the burden of that shame, that regret, that consequence, that self-loathing, whatever it is. And see if we can soften and soothe that tender heart with forgiveness. Remembering that forgiveness takes its own time. We cannot rush it. If we cannot feel forgiveness, can we feel compassion for ourselves in our closedness, in our not being quite ready? Just a little too tender, a little too much shame. It's okay. Breathing into the heart. Repeat to yourself then. For the ways I have hurt myself through actions or inactions, out of fear, pain, anger, and confusion, I now extend to myself the breath of forgiveness. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. Breathing in the breath of forgiveness right into the open heart of forgiveness, creating space and room for whatever is there. Softening the body, the face, opening and expanding the heart as much as we can, as much as is workable today. You can continue for a moment to recollect moments of not being kind or compassionate or gentle with oneself, and see if you can continue to invite that breath of forgiveness. May I forgive myself. Often there may be a holding on still, anger, a resentment, a pain. And remember, we can't just rip it up. We have to just be tender. We may just touch into it. This is where that self-compassion practice, this is just where we are. May I allow this experience as it is. You may not be able yet to offer forgiveness for everything. It's fine. It's true. We just need more time to see clearly and to come into more acceptance often. And then the third direction, if we're capable, is to ask forgiveness from to forgive another, to seek forget. No, let me say it a different way. forgiving another for harm or hurt that they have enacted against you. And again, we can start in the shallow water. We don't have to rush this. Something as simple as somebody forgetting, somebody not returning a call, somebody not checking in, somebody forgetting an invitation, all the way to greater, more consequential actions. But see where you can work. Find that spot that's workable for you. And I have found my person, and I am recollecting the experience, the sense of betrayal and abandonment. I'm just breathing that in. I'm not trying to change it. I, of course, understand that those actions came out of their own pain, often their own neglect, and overwhelm. I'm just remembering this truth. Remembering that this other is human, subject to human frailties and vulnerabilities, fearful, angry, pain, and alone. That's the place from which harm comes. Can I remember that now? Can I breathe it in? Reciting this phrase to yourself. I now remember the ways or the way you have hurt or harmed me, wounded me out of fear, pain, confusion, and anger. I have carried this pain in my heart too long. To the extent that I am ready and able, I offer you forgiveness. I offer my forgiveness. I forgive you. Feeling the effects of offering that phrase, I'll read it again in a moment, but just dropping in right now, staying in contact with the body, particularly that heart space. I now remember the ways that you have hurt or harmed me, wounded me out of fear, pain, confusion, and anger. I've carried this pain in my heart too long. To the extent that I am ready and able, I prepare to offer you forgiveness. I offer my forgiveness to you now. I forgive you. Let yourself gently repeat the phrases or the words that are meaningful to you Maybe I forgive you. Maybe an acknowledgement of the pain, the harm, the woundedness that has occurred. And just feeling the effects with self-compassion. You may notice a contraction, that claustrophobia, that rejection or refusal. And remember, we can even be compassionate to ourselves in this. I'm just not ready yet. I'm still feeling too vulnerable, too pained, too wounded or impacted. I cannot yet see how holding my own heart closed is a consequence to me. Breathing in, breathing out. The breath of forgiveness where it's possible. The breath of self-compassion when it isn't. All heart opening. And for the last practice, we're just going to pick our own direction and our own issue. If you want to go back to forgiving oneself, if you want to go back to forgiving others who have caused you harm, if you want to go back to forgiving yourself for the harm you've caused others, whatever works for you. You can ask for forgiveness from others. That's often one that can feel quite liberating. For all the times I've been late, for all the times I've forgotten, for all the times I was a knucklehead, can you forgive me now? And if you're feeling weary, if this is just feeling overwhelming or too much, let's just settle back into the softened body and breath, just creating a lot of open-hearted space all around us, not just in our own bodies. Let's breathe down, touching into the bottom of the out-breath, and then that light stillness, open wide, like that big, vast night sky. Opening wide, being boundless, making room for everything. Silence holds the space for all sounds. Stillness holds the space for all movement. The open heart holds the space for all human experience, whatever it is. The same vast, infinite, and boundless space. Feel it everywhere. And let the heart mind grow to match the boundlessness of this space. Breathing into it and out from it so that we're one big, infinite, boundless breath. like one big universal heart mind. And in this open space, there is no more relative forgiveness and not forgiveness. There's no more feelings of pain or not pain, woundedness, not woundedness. We're open into that vastness that holds everything as a tiny particle. All workable, all breathable. No distress, no struggle. Breathing in the molecules of the good heart and sending them back out. May we all have happiness and the causes for happiness. May we all be free from suffering and the causes for suffering. May we rejoice at our blessings and wish these blessings for others. May we remember who we really are, infinite, vast, wide, and open, capable of forgiveness, worthy of forgiveness. The giver, the receiver of forgiveness. May we breathe the breath of forgiveness for us all. May I ask for your forgiveness. May I forgive myself. I forgive you. And may this practice be of benefit. And may we all be well. So that one takes a while. We can't rush that, can we? We can't go through that more quickly than it is available to us. And so I hope that this practice was a little connecting for you today in whatever way it could be. Doesn't always connect in each direction. Sometimes when I do the practice, there's just one direction that is more vibrant, more heartful for me at a certain time than another. And that's just fine too. It's just good to know how we are in that way, more than, again, forcing or imagining that we're supposed to be a certain way, which I think is where many of our problems come from. It's almost already 8:30. So please come on if you feel like it. Say hello or goodbye. It's good to see you all. Thank you for being here to practice with me. It's wonderful to have you. And yeah, if you want to check into the forgiveness practice in the 3 directions, go to YouTube or ask me to send you the little script. I have that in a little shorthand for those phrases, and I'd be happy to send them to you. Just let me know in chat. And I hope everyone is well. So John, see ya. That's great. Wonderful, Lisa. Good to see you. I saw Elizabeth earlier. So Marie, I see that you're on. Hello, Kathy. It's wonderful to see you all. Hi there. All right, everyone. I'm going to sleep better, I have to say. Though I feel achy, got a little achiness in that chest area. That just means that there's a little work to continue. I'm glad that I can feel the truth, both of forgiveness and the inability, the consequence of the inability to forgive. When we close down, how much that also hurts. So it's good to check in. Elizabeth, I'm sorry. I just looked at chat and it sounds like you got locked out. So I don't know if you're on now, but if not, this will get up on the everydaymind.com. Nope, let me take that back. It will go up on the encinitasmindfulness.org website, encinitasmindfulness.org. And it's the tab Zoom meditations. And Leslie's been getting these up within really a couple hours because she's in Israel at a different time frame. So when she gets it, it usually goes up. So look for that, and also let me know if there's any way. Oh, Lydia was on. Oh, I'm sorry I missed you, Lydia. I think she's already gone. I haven't gotten to see Lydia in a while. Lydia had a baby girl recently. Got a lot of girls. This is girl power time. I'm very excited about that. But Lydia has a little girl now and a little boy and a beautiful family. So it's wonderful. Oh, you're still here. Oh, wonderful. Good to see you. Kind of. Good to see you. Yeah. Next time, if you're here on a evening and your daughter's awake still, which she may not be, hold her up because I haven't gotten to see her.
I will. She would love that.
Oh, I would love that. I don't know how she'd feel about it. But it would be a kick for me because I haven't gotten to see her.
I know.
So I would really enjoy that. Thank you. So would everyone else, by the way.
Thank you.
It's not just a selfish request. Everyone would love it. So anyway, everyone, thank you so much. Wonderful to be here with you always. Tomorrow morning at 7, we'll be working on the Bodhisattva path. That's usually way too early for moms. It's not usually the right time. So I'm glad that Lydia and a few others were able to make it at this time, this evening. And I'll see you tomorrow at 7, possibly if you're there. Craig will do Thursday at 7, and then I'll be, I think I'm going to be here Saturday at 7:30, but we're volunteering at the holiday basket distribution at the fairgrounds, and I can't remember the time, but it might be early. I'm not sure. And nobody's on who I think would know that yet, but somebody will be here, even if for some reason it can't be me. So please join us, because Sangha is so important to our continuing practice, just as we experienced this evening. So I'll look forward to seeing you soon. I'm off to rest and read and get ready for bed for an early morning. So love to you all, and
Thank you,
blessings. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening. Have a good evening.